What kind of maniac pulls a loaded gun over a parking spot? That's the question I was screaming in my head on a perfect Saturday afternoon, the kind of day where the sky's so blue it feels like a gift. I'm Jake, and I was living in Willow Creek, a so-called upscale apartment complex in Riverside that turned out to be a pressure cooker of corruption. My girlfriend, Sarah, was just trying to park her car when a rent-a-cop with a power trip turned our lives into a nightmare. But he didn't know Sarah had a federal agent on speed dial, and what unfolded next didn't just take him down, it ripped the mask off a multi-million-dollar scheme and changed our community forever. It was 72 degrees, a breeze whispering through the trees, and I was buzzing around my apartment, vacuuming like a madman because Sarah's allergies had flared up last time she sighted. We'd been together a year, ever since a friend's wedding where her quiet confidence and sharp wit hooked me. She worked as an admin at the Federal Justice Office, always sharing wild stories about the legal world without spilling secrets. Me? I was an IT guy for a healthcare company, nothing glamorous, but it paid for this place, even with the HOA fees creeping up like a bad habit. I'd been at Willow Creek 2 years, thinking it was simple: pay your dues, follow the rules, live in peace. Man, was I clueless about the rot hiding under the polished lawns. Sarah texted me she was here but couldn't find a cider spot, typical weekend chaos. I told her to use the overflow parking by the clubhouse, straight out of the HOA rulebook, page 26, paragraph 4. I'd actually read the whole 52-page thing when I moved in, unlike most folks. While she parked, I was in the kitchen, wrestling with her favorite pasta dish: sun-dried tomatoes, spinach, no burn sauce this time after 3 kitchen disasters. The place smelled like garlic and basil, and I was feeling like a culinary genius. That lasted about 14 minutes. My phone buzzed with a text that froze my blood. SOS. Security guard confrontation in parking lot. Help. Then another with her location pinned. I dropped the wooden spoon, sauce splattering across my clean floor, and bolted out the door, down 3 flights of stairs because the elevator was under maintenance, despite our $275 monthly fees. Sarah wasn't one to cry wolf. She handled tough situations at work like a pro, once calming an angry drunk at a restaurant so smoothly we got free dessert. This had to be bad. I burst into the parking lot, sunlight blinding me for a second. When my eyes adjusted, I saw something that still haunts me: Sarah backed against her car, hands half raised, and a guy in a navy uniform with "Security" in bold yellow letters aiming a Glock right at her chest. Over a parking spot? His stance was aggressive, like he was auditioning for a cop show. Later, I learned this was Carl Jenkins, a 52-year-old washed-up ex-cop with a rap sheet of excessive force complaints and a dismissal he'd buried by threatening lawsuits. "Hey, what the hell's going on?" I yelled, my voice cracking. Carl swung the gun toward me, and suddenly that Glock looked like a cannon. "Stay where you are. This is between me and her," he barked, his face flushed with a sick kind of thrill. His eyes had this manic glint, like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. But Sarah? She was calm, too calm. Her hand was inching into her purse, and I realized she was calling someone, keeping her cool in a way I couldn't fathom. "Carl, put the gun down. We can talk like adults," I said, hands shaking but raised to seem non-threatening. I locked eyes with him, remembering some article about staying calm in a crisis, though my heart was pounding so hard I thought it'd burst. Carl snorted, spitting as he waved the gun between us. "I am the law here," he sneered, handling the weapon so carelessly it was scarier than if he'd been precise. Residents peeked from balconies, but nobody came down. A woman with a golden retriever turned tail and fled. The parking lot was a ghost town except for us, trapped in this tense bubble. What Carl didn't know was Sarah wasn't just an admin. Her brother, Matt, was a U.S. Marshal with a decade of experience chasing fugitives. He'd trained her in self-defense and emergency protocols since she was a teen. While Carl ranted about HOA rules paragraph 2 section C, while VYing that gun like a pointer, Sarah had texted Matt our GPS and an audio recording of the showdown, her fingers MOVYing like she'd drilled for this. I tried reasoning. The VY cider spots were full. The handbook says overflow parking's fine. Page 26, check it. That just pissed him off more. His face turned beet red, a vein throbbing in his temple. Don't tell me the rules. I enforce them, he roared. I was secretly recording him through my jacket pocket, knowing we'd need proof. Sarah kept him talking, her voice steady as she asked, Is pulling a gun HOA policy, Mr. Jenkins? What's the training protocol here? Her questions threw him off, his bravado faltering as she exposed the insanity of his actions. Then Ellen Harper, the HOA president, showed up, all polished in her weekend Chanel, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. Carl, put the gun away, she said, eyeing the witnesses above. But Carl barely blinked. You hired me to keep order. I'm doing my job. Ellen's fake smile turned to me. Just a misunderstanding, I'm sure. I snapped. A misunderstanding? Your guard's got a gun on us over parking. Sirens wailed in the distance, and Carl's bravado cracked, his gun trembling. Sarah's phone buzzed. A text lit up the screen. Stay put. I'm here. 4 words that hit Carl like a freight train. Police cars screeched in, lights flashing, officers taking cover behind doors. Drop the weapon! Shouted Officer Daniels, a grizzled cop who kept his own gun low, unlike Carl's reckless aim. Carl froze, then slowly lowered the Glock, cuffed as a black Suburban rolled up. Out stepped Matt, all business in a gray suit, flashing his Marshal badge. Why's a rent-a-cop holding my sister at gunpoint over parking? He asked, his voice ice-cold but laced with fury. Carl stammered about rules, Ellen babbled about peaceful communities. But Detective Laura Miles, checking Carl's record, shut them down. Your concealed carry permit expired 6 months ago, and you were fired from the force for beating a kid. Care to explain? Carl went pale. Ellen tried to distance herself, claiming ignorance, but Carl turned on her. You knew I carried. You said make residents feel the consequences. Murmurs spread among the growing crowd, phones recording every word. A lawyer resident, DVYD Carter, stepped up with a folder of HOA dirt illegal entries, discriminatory rules, siphoned funds. My VY Deo and Sarah's audio sealed Carl's fate, capturing his threats and cop fantasies. Ellen was hauled to the station, her polished facade crumbling. As Carl was led away, he hissed at me. The HOA never forgets. This ain't over. I brushed it off as a loser's threat, not knowing he was a pawn in a much bigger game. Matt warned us this was just the start. If the VYD's right, this is systemic fraud. People like this don't quit when exposed. The next week's emergency HOA meeting was a kangaroo court, led by William Grant, the smarmy VYCE president who'd taken over. In his tailored suit, he used fake concern, blaming me and Sarah for disrupting harmony. He spread lies that I'd provoked Carl, that Sarah was belligerent, and the gun was exaggerated. My mic cut out when I tried to speak classic William. He pushed new rules, cameras in hallways, random unit inspections, harsher fines. It was a police state, and most residents were too confused or scared to fight back. Then things got personal. I got a violation for overgrown grass. I live in an apartment. My parking permit was voided for some unannounced rule. Sarah's tires were slashed in broad daylight, cameras malfunctioning. Neighbors stopped talking to me, pressured by the HOA. My community forum posts vanished. The meeting room was booked for months. One night, Lisa Gray, the jittery HOA secretary, cornered me in the garage. They're targeting you, she whispered, slipping me her number. It's bigger than you think. Call from a payphone. At a cafe miles away, Lisa spilled everything. William owned 40 fan tram of Crestwood developments, buying up units cheap to flip Willow Creek into luxury condos. They were at 62 fan tram ownership, needing 75 fan tram to force a sale. Emails she'd copied showed William's plan: jack up fees, harass owners, push them out. He was leveraged to the hill bankruptcy loomed if this failed. The VYD confirmed it with HOA records showing fake maintenance companies and kickbacks. Then I found a photo of Sarah walking to work, with a note. "Your apartment or her safety." Rage burned through me. This wasn't just bureaucracy, it was criminal. We built a resistance. Rachel Lee, a teacher, had binders of selective enforcement cases. John and Diane Miller, retirees, were pressured to sell at a loss by William's brother-in-law. Matt dug up Crestwood's shady deals and other complexes. Lisa risked everything, smuggling emails about Remo VYing unsuitable residents. We used encrypted chats, tracked every violation, and followed the money. But William fought dirty. Apartment was, in surges, left drawers rifled. Lisa was fired and tailed. My laptop was stolen in a break-in, though I'd backed up our EVY Denke. Matt pushed us to go big. "This is racketeering. The FBI's our play." We looped in a reporter, Emily Stone, who demanded ironclad proof. William called a mandatory meeting to remove disruptive elements, citing a vague bylaw. Matt grinned. "It's a trap, but we'll flip it." The plan: let William overplay his hand, then bury him with EVY Denke. The community center was a pressure cooker, packed with residents and William's new goons, Squadix military types with hidden guns. William, all polish and menace, announced a 40-fan tram fee hike, gas bans, and unit inspections, claiming a shady 67-fan tram vote. When I challenged him, my mic screeched and died. Guards moved in, but Sarah stood, voice ringing. "Everyone deserves to know about Crestwood and how this HOA's screwing you." As William froze, I hacked the projector, splashing his emails across the screen. Orders to harass owners, his Crestwood stake, stolen HOA funds. The room exploded. The VYD played William's recorded plan to target retirees. Rachel shared her 17 violations. John blocked William's exit, smirking. "Going somewhere?" The FBI stormed in, Matt at the lead, cuffing William for fraud and racketeering. Ellen, cutting a deal, confessed everything. William's parting shot chilled me. "This is just the tip of the iceberg." The fallout was massive. The FBI probed 5 other Crestwood schemes. William and Ellen faced prison. Carl got 18 months. Politicians resigned over kickbacks. Lisa got her job back but left for peace. Our new HOA, led by the VYD/fees, ditched the cameras and build real community potlucks, fair rules, kids playing outside. Sarah and I stayed, joining the fight against HOA abuses. She turned down a promotion, saying, "Justice here matters more." A letter from another complex asked for help, and we smiled. One parking spot had sparked a revolution. Never underestimate a woman with a Marshal on speed dial. People fed up with being pushed around.